They decided they needed a big ceremonial entrance to the great medieval church. And Sir Christopher Wren, our great architect of the 1600s and early 1700s, designed it, but he died before they could build it. So his pupil, Nicholas Hawksmoor, designed this big ceremonial entrance with the two towers. But there are some echoes of the medieval church on this side. First of all, you can see right at the top, on either side of the big window, the big stained glass window, there's a couple of little shields, one red, one blue. Now they're important, and they'll be important in the story when we get inside. The blue one is the coat of arms of a man called Saint Edward the Confessor. He was a king of England. And the red one is the coat of arms of Henry III, also king of England, many hundreds of years apart. As you come lower down, there are other bits of decoration. Right in the middle, over the door, there's another coat of arms, more elaborate. That's the man who was king at the time when this entrance was built. That's George II in the 1740s.
What's the unicorn for on that coat of arms?
The unicorn and you get a unicorn and a lion on the royal coat of arms of this country, which was the unicorn was introduced by the Scots when the Stuarts became kings of England. The Stuart dynasty came along right at the beginning of the 1600s. The Tudors died out. They were succeeded by the Stuarts. They were a Scottish family. Came down from Scotland. Scotland, separate country, still is really a separate country. We just have the same monarch. And we elect Scottish MPs to our parliament, so the parliaments have been unified. Complicated, but anyway, in those days a completely separate country. So the Stuarts, the Scots, came down and they brought their coat of arms with them, which included a unicorn, slightly modified because the lion is a traditional English symbol as well, which goes back to the time of the Norman conquest in the 1060s. So the two got joined up, and that's the Stuart coat of arms, the lion and the unicorn, and it's been used ever since. You can also see a line of statues over the front door. Hawksmoor, when he built this ceremonial entrance in the 1740s, left the niches blank. Space for statues, no one to go in. So they remained empty for a couple of hundred years. And then right at the end of the 20th century, they decided to put statues in. And the decision was to put in a line of 20th century Christian martyrs. And that's what you've got there now. Just pick out a couple. You should be able to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You should be able to see 5 or 6 along Martin Luther King, standing there in the middle. No, incidentally, not Church of England, not Episcopalian, not Anglican. These are Christians from all faiths, all branches of Christianity. If you count 4 in from the side, you can see somebody's name underneath, Bonhoeffer, chap with he's got a book in his hand. He was a Lutheran, German Lutheran pastor in London, ministering to the German community in London in the 1930s. He chose to go back into Nazi Germany in the 1930s to lead the Christian resistance to the Nazis.
Oh, I remember him.
And he was eventually executed by the Nazis right at the end. He was imprisoned, executed right at the end of the war before the Allies could get to him. Another Christian martyr. So they're typical 20th century Christian martyrs, but not always Anglican. Question.
Who is the second one? I can't read the name. The second one from the left?
Taffa. He's an African Christian martyr. There are details on them here on a little plaque outside.
Okay.
But let's not go into too much detail on all of them.
All right.
There are a few too many. Let's go inside, shall we? I'll take you into Dean's Yard. You stick with me, we'll go and find it.
Me, sorry. Can't help it, man. It's just happens.
While we're here, I'll just do a quick spiel about Dean's Yard. I'm going to ask you to wait here while we go and get the tickets, but if you close in, I'll just say a few things about this area called Dean's Yard. Suddenly, you're in a rather quiet and secluded, monastic, scholastic sort of area. Because that's exactly what it is. That monastery I talked about, that the abbey was attached to, was roughly here. Mainly over that side. What you've got to remember is that this area was an island in the Thames, the River Thames. Windswept, marshy, thorny island. They called it Thorny Island. Perfect place to put a monastery. Round about 970 AD, something like that. A Benedictine monastery, and the abbey was the church attached. Tiny to begin with. But Edward the Confessor, whose coat of arms are on the front door, wanted a great state church. So he built up the abbey into a great state church for royal burials, royal weddings, and coronations. The three main things in our great state church. I'll talk about them a little bit more later on. Henry III's shield is on the front entrance because he took over the church and rebuilt it. There's only a tiny bit of Edward's church left. But Henry III's church is most of what you see. The monastery got closed down. Henry VIII, the big king with 6 wives, star of the Tudors television series, he broke with the Church of Rome. He wanted a divorce so he could marry his second wife, Anne Boleyn, divorced Catherine of Aragon. Catholic Church wouldn't give him a divorce. So he said, fine, I'll set up my own church, I'll be in charge, I'll give myself a divorce. And that's what he did. So ever since we've had a separate English church. The main resistance to that decision was in the monasteries. And the monasteries were very wealthy. So Henry just closed them down. And he was a bit short of cash as well at the time, so he took their wealth as well. More on that later. Let's go and get the tickets. If you stay here, I'll be back with you in a minute.
Okay.